Happy Halloween, everybody! Whether you've been gorging on candies or going out to a party or dressing up, or maybe just sitting at home watching a few horror movies, hopefully you've had a very good night. And if you didn't participate in any Halloween festivities, hopefully it was a very relaxing Friday evening. Now, this is the pièce de résistance, the moment we've all been waiting for. You know, I've been thinking, this is my 29th Halloween. Crazy, right? Next one will be my 30th. That's wild. Got me thinking though. 29. Is there any other franchise that's celebrating a 29th birthday? I'm trying to think. But then I thought, I was born in the 90s. 1997. 1929. 1929. It all makes sense. There's a special reissue in 1929 of a movie that turns 100 years old this year. I am, of course, talking about The Phantom of the Opera. What we're looking at here is called the Eastman Cut. It's the most common version of the film that's out there. This is going to be a kind of different video, one where I sort of just play and pause and talk about bits from the movie that I like. I've been looking forward to talking about this movie this Halloween season, so without further ado, let's get into this. That is such a great score. As you can see in the background, we see this figure moving around, in the catacombs, and the underground. We are in the Phantom's lair. Almost like the Phantom himself is setting the stage for what is to come. Of course, we gotta talk about the man, the myth, the legend himself, Lon Chaney. The man who did his own makeup for this character. Before Bela Lugosi's Dracula, before Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, we had Lon Chaney's Phantom. That is one heck of an opening shot. What I like about this movie is how he uses color. The dark blue for the nighttime scenes, the golden yellow for the interior shots. We're even going to see some pink throughout. Carl Davis did a really good job here, making music that actually fits the synchronization of the orchestra pit. That's a pretty cool match cut. Then we got this scene right here, with the new owners taking over the opera house. And you can tell by looking at their faces, they're more than eager to hand it over. This scene kind of feels like that moment from a slasher movie where you have people trying to warn the would-be victims that there's a killer on the loose, or that there's some fable surrounding the area. Which, of course, they don't believe. Yes, messieurs, we are not children. That is an imposing shot. I love this bit of how they run out and then they realize, wait a minute, we own this place, we can just kick him out. Oh, he's gone. They're so terrified they're holding each other. And then we have the flash of pink for the stage. You know, this could probably be considered a jump scare. Door suddenly opens, there's a ghost, disappears. A loud noise, and then they run off. It truly does have the essence of a haunted house movie. What's interesting about watching this movie a second time is knowing the context of different characters and situations. Like, you think he might be the suspected Phantom. I find it funny how the ladies are crowding around the stagehand when he's just as scared as they are. I love this moment where the guy is trying to get away, but then the dancers pull him back in. He's just as terrified as they are, yet they're making him go first. Like, the poor guy's sneaking away. Like, he's terrified. He's trying to get away, but they're like, oh, no, you go ahead, you go ahead. I think that girl just spun around for no reason. I think it's kind of funny how he's describing the Phantom while holding a prosthetic head. I just noticed that skull there upon viewing this again. There's a lot of macabre in this movie. I love how everybody's taking off, but this guy's just chilling. Oh, I love this part. It's almost like an unintentional silent comedy. There's a lot of slapstick. There's a lot of slapstick and physicality to it. Something I appreciate about older movies is how they actually give you the time to read something. Nowadays, it feels like movies just show us a blip of what's being written, and then they move on. Did I mention just how incredible the music is? What's interesting about this part is how it sets up the main characters and the central conflict within a matter of seconds. Right away, we know the characters, the relationship, and that there's a bit of tension between the lovers. Like any good ghost story, the Phantom appears to be a curse on the place. Be wary that you do not catch his wrath. What I like about that little exchange is how you didn't necessarily need to hear the dialogue to get an idea of what was being said. What's fascinating about these silent movies is that there is only text if there's some important information that needs to be communicated. It's fun to watch the reactions and the emotions and try to make up your own dialogue. Other than that, you can just sit back and enjoy the performances. And watch these actors' faces. Oh, he notices something. Something's up. She knows something is up too. But what is it? I love this shadow. It is an iconic silhouette. He's probably thinking, who's in there? Who's this stranger trying to charm my girl? What's interesting is how this Phantom sort of cast a spell on Christine, enticing her into the world of opera, of having an amazing career. A subtle hint that they will meet face to face very soon. think it's pretty cool how it shows how the Phantom knows the ins and outs of the Opera House so well that he's able to get in and out like that. Also contributes to that whole ghost story aspect of things randomly appearing and disappearing. And this is where they have the dilemma, because on the one hand, they don't want the wrath of Madame Charlotte, but at the same time, they don't want to legitimize the Phantom. First glance, everything seems okay. Nothing suspicious is going on here. Meanwhile, the wedge between Christine and Karu is driven further. The love triangles are brewing. Oh. Uh-oh. The lights are flickering. Oh dear. Tension's building. What could happen? Oh, there's the Phantom. The sneaky Phantom. Oh, I love that silhouette. That is such a great shot. And she's singing, the tension is rising, and then bam! I wonder how many takes it took for them to get that right. I also wonder if they actually filmed an actual chandelier dropping, or if they just use a model. Or maybe it was a combination of an actual chandelier dropping, a model falling in front of us, and then the already dropped chandelier already built, and the people fleeing. What's kind of disturbing is when you consider the fact that there were likely people who got crushed under that chandelier. The Phantom has likely caused a murder. Oh, there's a mysterious stranger again. If you notice the color of pink, you notice that the last time we saw pink was on the Phantom, and there was pink on him. So again, as a first-time watcher, this movie does a great job of letting you think this guy's the Phantom. Oh, that's another great moment I really love. The way he sneaks about the catwalk. It's just... it's one of those moments, you know? But if he's not the Phantom, then who is this mysterious stranger? Whoosh! Like magic, she's gone. As if she's been transported to another world. This moment is pretty creepy too, where we have the music and his hand just creeping into frame, She turns around and sees she's already regretting her decision. I wonder if that's an intentional unfocus. Sort of as their way of putting us in her POV. Of her way of sort of blocking out the face and only focusing on the voice. This is another great example of us not needing to hear the dialogue to understand what's going on. Also, I just love the shadows of this movie. It is so... I just think it's so great. And the production design is amazing. I like how it shows how we're descending deep into the pit of the Phantom. I like how each gesture the Phantom makes is some sweepy motion. Almost as if he's lived his entire life in the opera, and his grip on reality versus the stage has slipped. Oh dear, that got wet. I like how this part is in black and white. It creates this element that we're in the monster's lair, like Dracula's castle or Frankenstein's laboratory. There's a very gothic romanticism to it. We realize that this is really a tragic love story, a one-sided love story, a man who desperately wants this woman but can't have her. And as such, he brushes it off because of his ugliness, but then as we later find out, his ugliness goes beyond just the skin. You can tell she's clearly not interested. Something else I've noticed is that the Phantom seems to speak in a very poetic way. Kind of reminds me a bit of Dracula's coffin. I like how we kind of just chose there. Oh, I love how she just figures that out. Like the mysterious man in her walls in the opera house, that didn't give it away. It's at this point where the Phantom tries to reveal himself as more of a tragic character. He really likes to fancy himself as romantic, but as we're going to find out, there is more of a dark side to him. Of course, we got the classic damsel fading from distress. It's interesting how this room is differentiated by the gold, yellowish tint. As you notice, there was a ratio change. That's because they shot this with two different cameras side by side. This cut of the movie is compiled of prints from both versions. It's this part right here where we find out that Eric, the Phantom, is more than just in love. He's borderline obsessed with her, keeping her shoes and costumes from prior productions. Yeah, if she wasn't like, this is darker behavior right here now. You are in no peril as long as you do not touch my mask. So she'll be in no peril so long as she doesn't touch his mask. What do you think she's gonna do? Yet listen, it sounds an ominous undercurrent of warning. Gee, I wonder what that could be alluding to. Now this moment right here, this is really something. You probably know what the Phantom looks like without his mask on, but I've been carefully hiding this because I want you to feel the impact of this moment. Imagine this. It's 1925 or 1929, and you're seeing this for the very first time. You don't know what terrible visage lies underneath that mask. You're just as curious as she is. The strings come in. The tension is building. Fake out. Tension is building. Grabs the mask, and then... the imposing Phantom revealed. Imagine how terrifying this must have been. Even watching it again sends shivers up my spine. I wonder if audiences back then screamed at this part. It is... oh, even... yeah, that's terrifying. Secret's out now. Another iconic shot. Feast your eyes, glut your soul on my accursed ugliness. Really love the lighting they've done for this. How the top of his face is covered in shadow. Well, now that he has been unmasked, she is now in peril. This is where we reveal that Eric is a bit of a control freak. This is where he becomes more of the monster. Of course, as soon as she gets back, she sends a message to Raoul, letting him know that she's ready to run away. That is a great shot. I love that shot of how it isolates him. And as you can see, the text change for this particular sequence, which is an ultimately fantastic one. What you're seeing here is full-on color, not just a hue over black and white, but actual color film. Keep in mind, this was a good few decades before colored film became the norm. Huge props to the restoration team for bringing this to us. Imagine, this sequence could have been lost forever. This is one of those moments that made me go, wow. And of course, the good old Phantom decides to surface, wearing the most lavish costume there. Obviously a play on Edgar Allan Poe's Mask of the Red Death. The Red Death costume is easily the best of the entire movie, and I go as far to say it's one of the best ever put to film simply because I'm sure there's plenty of horror movies that have taken inspiration from that costume. Interesting how we get that close-up of the Phantom after Raoul takes off his mask and reveals himself. I think it's funny that as soon as the Red Death leaves, everybody goes back to partying. Literally, the sequence is, I don't like this. Then as soon as he's gone, everybody's like, alright, let's get lit again. The roof of the Opera House, high above Paris. This scene on the roof is another great moment. It's one of those things that make you go, how did they film this in the 1920s? I love that. The Phantom's cape bellowing in the wind. It's another case of, how did they film this? At the time, they likely didn't use a set, so they probably filmed on top of an actual opera house. Or the real opera house, I should say. This was before the era of sound stages become commonplaces, or green screens. Did I mention how great of a performance Lon Chaney does as the Phantom? They probably heard that. Almost feels like he's a wizard, casting a spell on them, as if his pure hatred for them will cause them to drift apart, or that he will be able to manifest his claim on Christine. Moments like this are what make this movie truly special. This is another moment that gets an entirely different context upon a repeat viewing. By this point on a first viewing, you know that he is the Phantom, and that he wants to help Raoul and Christine, but you don't quite know who he is yet. Oh, he's pissed. He's like, hey man, come on, you can't interrupt our play fighting! And then as soon as he learns that it's the Phantom of the Opera, down he goes. Wasn't so tough after all, eh? Then we learn the dark secret of Eric. How he's an escaped convict. Insane. Which would explain his lust for Christine. Everything is now building towards a dramatic climax. Will they get away? Will they flee? And be safe from the Phantom? Or are they doomed? Oh, this shot right here. Imagine how disturbing this must have been back then. See the body swing, but we don't see the faux body. That might have been too much for them back then. The Phantom has struck again, with the most dire of warnings. Oh, the body's disappeared. Where could it have gone? What's this? The body's found, but is he alive? He is not. This is where fear turns to anger, and also where we see the mob start to come together. The Phantom's hands creep everywhere, spiking their drinks with a little something. The last time we saw this scene being performed, the chandelier dropped down from the ceiling. And now the conductor drops down from the trap. Ta-da! The Phantom has now disrupted the live performance. She's gone! It's chaos! She's disappeared behind the mirror. And it's here where we learn who this mysterious stranger is. That explains everything. Why he frequents that box. Why he creeps around backstage and seems to know all the Phantom's tricks. You know, I have to wonder, how did they get a shot like that and not accidentally catch the camera in the mirror? Cameras back then didn't have the best zoom. They were pretty much stationary. You had to physically move the camera if you wanted to be closer. So I wonder how they did it. Looks a bit goofy in this part, I have to admit. Like, you get the whole point is that so that if a noose gets tied around their neck, it makes it difficult for them to get strangled. Oh, that's a great shot. That's a great shot. Still, imagine the best way to deflect being killed is to have your hand up. Oh, that's a great shot. Did I mention how much I loved the movie's use of shadows? Now keep your hand up! It's a good thing this isn't a Phantom that stabs or shoots, or they would be out of luck. I love how the orchestra includes a little creaking noise. There's no sound, so they use musical instruments as a way of creating sound effects. Keep your hands up. The lighting and production design, it's just so gorgeous. There's so much visual appeal in this movie, I can't stress it enough. The appearance of this character is kind of odd. He only shows up once and then he's never mentioned again. I guess he's supposed to be the Phantom's apprentice or something, but this is the first time we're seeing him and we never see him again. Back in the Phantom's lair, a damsel in distress. Now Eric's true nature comes to light. I suppose if he was around today, he'd be a gaslighter. That's gotta hurt. Again, sound effect through music. What will he do? Time to go full mask off, literally and figuratively. He may be insane, but that's kind of smart. Bloop. Da-na. Da-na. Like a phantom, he strikes. The phantom claims another victim. I find this part kind of funny. He just wipes his hands like it's nothing and then does a little toodaloo. Like he acts so much like a proper gentleman about it. But of course, as we all know, he is no gentleman. He is a monster. I've killed a man. Time to play some music. And here's the angry mob that's forming. I'm just thinking, I wonder if that was the guy who warned them earlier, who had found the hiding place. Because otherwise it doesn't really make sense. It's a bit of a plot hole that he would know about it. Again, I love how grandiose the Phantom is with his movements. Almost like he's acting out the opera of his life. Well, well, well. I wonder how they did that bit with the flashing lights. Maybe they just swung them back and forth a little bit. I love the contrasts of the blue versus red. Like you have the red of Raoul and Ledoux in heat, but then the blue of the approaching mob. He doesn't need the mask anymore. He's shown his true nature, and is now putting it on display. This is what makes the Phantom such a compelling villain. He has this twisted, playful nature about him. But of course, she's repulsed by him. Hang in there, boys, the mobs are coming. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. They escaped. Or have they? Look at that look on his face. He has a backup plan. And that's to play more music while these guys figure things out. What are barrels of gunpowder doing underneath the Phantom's lair? Well, we're about to find out. It's kind of cool how the Phantom is this madman, but also has thought of everything. He's thought of every contingency, just to get Christine to love him. Look at that smile. That sick, twisted grin of his. Oh, and there goes the cat from earlier. Lady the charge. Like any good madman, he has his own doomsday button. There's another iconic shot. I love how he looks freaked out as she considers turning the grasshopper. He's like, oh, I did not plan on her turning that. Oh, okay, good, good. She's going to turn the scorpion. The angry mob is approaching. Make up your mind, he wonders. But of course he lied. Raoul will die. Something you may notice in this last act is the motif of water. Phantom sneaks through water, water is drained to try and kill Raoul, and as you'll find out later, water plays another key factor. As if he's acknowledging that he made a deal and he's got to hold up his end of the bargain. I wonder how long the actors had to hold their breath before the trapdoors opened, provided that the water was actually deep enough that they would actually submerge. I mean, given the thickness of the door and the space between the door and the water, it's likely they were actually struggling to breathe there. Again, another pose where it feels like he's trying to strike them down with some kind of spell. More callers to deal with. Oof, yeah. Probably wasn't a good idea to drain all that water. I love that pose he does. It's like the classic villain pose. Like, Avast! You will not win! I will claim victory! You shall not defeat me! I love how Rude tries for a moment to try and get up, but he's so exhausted that he just falls back down. He had a little smile there, almost like backup has arrived. And if you notice, for the first time, the Phantom's lair changes from black and white to a color. He just bits him. He just smacked him right off. Oh, she managed to jump out. Oh, looks like he got stuck there. Like any madman, he gets caught up in his own hubris, and even the best laid plans go awry. Initially, the Phantom was meant to die of a broken heart, but test audiences hated it. Yeah, test audiences hated it, so they added this mob sequence. There's the Notre Dame. At least I think that's Notre Dame. As I mentioned before, water plays a big part in the final act. Now we're right next to a river. Oh. Looks like the Phantom has one more trick of his sleeve. We don't know what it is. They don't know what it is. But what is it? What's the grand trick? Nothing. A final joke. Oh. Those guys just jumped into the river for no reason. The Phantom gets a last laugh. One last devious trick. One last theatrical display. Before he's ultimately dumped into the river. And that is it. The end of the Phantom of the Opera. Wow, that was a fun watch. Very good looking for 100 years old. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little commentary track. I don't know if I'll do anything like this again, but if you want to see more in the future, let me know. I don't know if I'll put in the whole movie or just segments, or if I even put in the live action bits or not. But either way, I hope you enjoyed it. And have a happy Halloween. And that is Phantom of the Opera. My words can't do it justice. Please go check this movie out for yourself. Happy Halloween, everybody!